Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Explain Maths. Now in this video I am going to start with a chapter Coordinate Geometry, and this chapter I have taken from grade 9 chapter 3. Okay, so let's begin the class. Now try to recall when you enter a movie hall, how will you locate your seat? So first of all you'll see your ticket. In the ticket you can see some position is given. So is it only some number is written like your seat number is 24? Is it easy for you to find out your location where you have to sit? So I am going to present here now. This is the movie hall seating arrangement. Now if you see over here, there are many seats. If someone will tell your seat number is 26, is it easy for you to locate? I don't think so, right? But if you see here, some alphabets are written over here, A, B, C, D, and so on, right? Now, if someone will tell your seat number is Z15, then it will be easy for you to locate your seat, isn't it? You will see the Z alphabet, and then in the G alphabet, where is your location? It's a 15th seat of this 0. So then easily you can locate your position, isn't it? Now, if suppose you have to, this is the seating arrangement of your classroom, okay, and you have to locate the position of the girl which is sitting here, Sonia. Okay, now how will you tell if someone will ask where is her place? Then for that you have to tell which column she is sitting and which row she is sitting, isn't it? So if you can see here, she is sitting in the first row and in the fourth column, isn't it? So if I will give my both the information, so it will be easy for anyone to locate her position. Yes. So we require number of column and that of a row to locate the place of a child, isn't it? So you can see over here that to locate some position, you need two reference point, isn't it? Now earlier we have seen number line. So in a number line, if you have to locate any number, suppose you have to locate 3, easily you can do it over here. That in the number line 3 is at this place, isn't it? Now suppose if you have to locate a point which is over here. Okay, you have to locate this point P. Then how will you do? This point is not on the number line, isn't it? So for that, what you have to do? You have to again give two reference point. Okay. Suppose if you take this as a plane, this screen as a plane, so you have to tell from the bottom line what is the distance of this point, and from the left side of the border what is its location. Okay, then only you can able to locate this point. As this point is not on the number line, it is difficult. If I say it is 10 unit above from the bottom, so 10 unit above from the bottom can be anywhere. It can be here, it can be here. But to locate the exact location of this, you need two reference. Either one will be from the bottom or from the top, or one from the left side or one from the right side. Minimum two reference point is needed, isn't it? So this simple idea has given a rise to an important branch of mathematics known as coordinate geometry, where to locate a point, okay, in a plane, consider this as a plane. If you have to locate a point, you need two axes. Okay, based on those two axes only you can give the exact location of this point. So now we are going to study about that. So coordinate geometry is a branch of mathematics in which a pair of two numbers called coordinates is used to represent the position of a point with respect to two mutually perpendicular number lines called coordinate axes. So if you see here, I have taken two number line. One is horizontal, one is vertical, and both are perpendicular to each other. Perpendicular means at the intersection point they are forming a 90-degree angle. So now if you have to locate any point in this system, I need two numbers. One number with respect to x-axis, one number with respect to y-axis to locate the position of the point. Okay, and these both the axes are known as coordinate axis. This first one is x-axis and this is the y-axis. And Rene Descartes is the mathematician who was the first person to use this system to find the position of a point in a plane. So in honor of his name only, the name of this system is given as Cartesian system. If you see his surname, it is Cartes. So based on this, his name only, it came Cartesian system. Now in Cartesian system, there are two perpendicular straight line, x dash. You can see here x dash, this is the horizontal line, and the second one is y dash, vertical line, and both are intersecting at point O. So this complete system is known as Cartesian system. The point of intersection of these lines, which is O here, is known as origin. It is the origin. The horizontal line XO x dash is called x-axis, and the vertical line YO y dash is known as y-axis. The direction OX and OY, they are the positive direction. If you see here number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they are all the positive number. Here also in OY also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the positive number. Same way, if you see OX dash and OY dash, it has the negative, they are the negative direction of x-axis and y-axis, and you can see they have a negative numbers. Next, we will see what is quadrant. So you can see here this coordinate axis, the x-axis and y-axis, divide this in 4 equal part, isn't it? And this part is known as quadrant. Quadrant means 1/4. And it is numbered anti-clockwise 1, 2, 3 and 4. Anti-clockwise direction it has named over here. Okay, starting from OX. So the plane consists of the axis and the quadrant. We call this complete plane as Cartesian plane, or we can say it as coordinate plane or XY plane. And these axes are called coordinate axis. X-axis and Y-axis both are known as coordinate axis. Now XOY is called the first quadrant, X dash OY is the second quadrant, X dash OY dash is the third quadrant, and XOY dash is the fourth quadrant. So you have got total 4 quadrants. Now if you see in the first quadrant, okay, OX and OY both are having positive number. So that's why the point which lie in the first quadrant will have both X and Y axis as positive. Okay, so if a point is in first quadrant, then point will be in the form of plus, comma, plus. Since the first quadrant is enclosed by positive x-axis and positive y-axis. This is positive x-axis and this is positive y-axis. Now, if it is in the second quadrant, then you can see your x-axis, it has negative number and y-axis is positive. So it will be minus and plus. One will be x-axis will be negative and y-axis will be positive. And you know that always when you write the coordinate of a point, first you have to write x-axis and then we have to write the y-axis. Now, if a point is in the third quadrant, then point will be in the form of minus and minus because it is enclosed by OX dash and OY dash, and you can see both are having negative numbers. Now, if a point is in the fourth quadrant, the x-axis is positive and y-axis is negative. So, it will be of the form plus and plus comma minus. So, you have to remember this because many times I have seen the objective type of question comes. Like if both the coordinates are negative, then in which quadrant it will lie. So, you should be knowing all this concept. Now let's see how to find the coordinate of a point in a Cartesian plane. Suppose if you see here, this is the Cartesian plane. There are so many points mentioned over here. How will you give the coordinate of these points? Okay. So to locate a point in the Cartesian plane, its perpendicular distance from x-axis and y-axis are required. So what is, if suppose I have to find the coordinate of P, then first I have to find what is the distance of this point P from x-axis and from y-axis. Each point in the Cartesian plane has two coordinates, x coordinate and y coordinate. So if you have to locate any point in the plane, you have to give the location on the basis of two coordinate. First will be x coordinate and second will be y coordinate. Now x coordinate of a point is its perpendicular distance from the y-axis measured along the x-axis. So for point P, if I have to find the x coordinate, then we have to see what is the perpendicular distance of this point from y-axis. So from y-axis is here, the perpendicular distance of point P is this Pn, isn't it? So what is the distance of Pn? How will you find? You can see here ONPM. This is forming a rectangle. To know the value of Pn, it will be same as OM, isn't it? Now OM is 4 unit. So Pn will also be 4 unit. So the x coordinate will be 4. Clear? So that's what I have written for the point P. It is plus 4 because it is in the positive direction, right? Same way for Q, if you see what is the here is the y-axis, okay? What is the distance of Q from the y-axis? This is QS, and the measure of QS is 6 over here, isn't it? It is minus 6. So the x coordinate of point P is plus 4 and the x coordinate of Q is minus 6. And x coordinate is also known as abscissa. Okay, we also call it as abscissa. Now we have seen how to find the x coordinate of a point. Now let's see how to find the y coordinate of a point. So y coordinate of a point is its perpendicular distance from the x axis measured along the y axis. So if I have to find the y coordinate of point P, I have to see what is the perpendicular distance from the x axis. So my x axis is here and this is the perpendicular distance. So the perpendicular distance is PM and PM is equal to ON, isn't it? So the y coordinate of point P will be 3. So let's take an example. So for point P, it is plus 3. You can see PM is plus 3 unit. And same way for if you have to take for Q, the y coordinate will be QR. QR is the distance of point Q from the x-axis. Okay, so now you can see this QR is same as OS. Now OS is minus 2. So here the y coordinate will be minus 2. And the y coordinate is also known as ordinate and x coordinate is known as abscissa. So to locate any point, you have to give abscissa and the ordinate. Abscissa is the x coordinate and ordinate is the y coordinate. Now again I am repeating, x coordinate will be the perpendicular distance from the y axis measured along the x axis, and the y coordinate of a point is the perpendicular distance from the x axis. Okay, so don't get confused. Now in stating the coordinate of a point in the coordinate axis, the x coordinate comes first and then the y coordinate, and we place the coordinates in brackets. So suppose if I have to give the coordinate of point P, so I will be writing over here the coordinate of point P as x coordinate is 4 and y coordinate is 3. So that's what it is telling. First you have to write x coordinate and then you have to write the y coordinate. So x coordinate is 4, isn't it? Because x coordinate tells the perpendicular distance of the point from the y axis, which is your Pn, and Pn value is same as OM, which is 4. And the y coordinate is the perpendicular distance from the x axis, which is PM, and PM is equal to ON. ON is 3, so the y coordinate is 3. Okay. Now same way if you have to locate this point Q, so the x coordinate is minus 6 and y coordinate is minus 2. So this is the coordinate of Q, right? Now the coordinate describe a point in a plane uniquely. 3, 4 is not same as 4, 3, isn't it? This, see, 4, 3 is point P, but if you have to locate 3, 4, that is some other point. So every point in the plane is unique. Okay, every point in the plane is unique. 4, 3 is not same as 3, 4. And you have to be very clear. First you have to write the coordinate of x-axis and then you have to write the coordinate of y-axis. Clear? This question I have taken from NCERT textbook. Example number 1. Complete the following statement. First one is the abscissa and the ordinate of the point B. Now you can see point B is in your first quadrant, isn't it? And in the first quadrant, both x and y coordinate will be positive. Yes or no? So you can write over here, this is first quadrant, this is second quadrant, this is third quadrant, and this is your fourth quadrant. Now you have to find the abscissa and ordinate. Abscissa means x-axis, ordinate means y-axis. So the x coordinate is the perpendicular distance from y-axis, which is this, and this measure is going to be same as this. So this is going to be 4. Now y coordinate is the perpendicular distance from x-axis, which is this, and this will be the of same measure as this. Now this is your 3 unit, so this will be 3. So here you can write this is 4, this is 3, and the coordinate is 4, 3. Second one, the x and y coordinate of point M. Now point M lies in the second quadrant, and second quadrant x axis will be negative, y axis will be positive. Now x coordinate is this perpendicular distance, and this measure will be same as this. So it will be minus 3, comma. Now y coordinate is the perpendicular distance from x axis, which is this. So it will be 4. So here is minus 3, this is 4, and the coordinate is minus 3, comma 4. Now the third is x and y coordinate of the point L. Point L is in the third quadrant. Third quadrant, both x and y coordinate is negative. Now x coordinate will be the perpendicular distance from y axis, which is this, and this measure is going to be same as this. So this will be minus 5, and y coordinate is the perpendicular distance from x axis, which is this measure, and this is going to be same as this. So it will be minus 4. So x coordinate minus 5, y coordinate minus 4. So it will be minus 5, comma minus 4. Now fourth is x and y coordinate of point S. So x coordinate perpendicular distance from y axis, which is this, and this measure is going to be same here. So it will be 3, comma, and y coordinate is this perpendicular distance, which is going to be same as this. So it will be minus 4. And you can see in the fourth quadrant, x axis is positive, y axis is negative. So it is going to be 3 x coordinate, y coordinate minus 4. So the coordinate is 3, comma minus 4. Okay, so this is your example number 1. Now next we will see what will be the coordinate of the origin. Okay, origin here it is written as O. Okay, now x coordinate is what? Perpendicular distance from y axis, but here it is exactly at the center, isn't it? So it has 0 distance from both the axes, so its abscissa and ordinate are both 0. So the coordinate of origin is always 0, 0. Okay. Now the coordinate of a point on x-axis are of the form x, 0. Now what is the meaning of this? So if you take any point on the x-axis, suppose I have taken this point M. Now what will be the x coordinate? X coordinate is perpendicular distance from y-axis, isn't it? Now this is your y-axis. This is your y-axis. This is the perpendicular distance, which will give you 4. Now y coordinate is the perpendicular distance from x-axis. Now the point itself is on the x-axis. So the distance from the x coordinate is 0. That's why it says if a point is on the x-axis, it will be of the form x, 0. Now same way if you have to write the location of this point R. So the distance of this point R from x-axis is this, which is minus 6, and distance from y-axis is nothing, it's 0, because this point lies on x-axis. There is no distance, it has 0 distance from y-axis, isn't it? So the coordinate is of the form x, 0 if the point lies on x-axis. Now same way if the point is on the y-axis, suppose this point N, okay, then it will be of the form 0, y, because the x coordinate is the perpendicular distance from y-axis. But the point itself on y-axis, so it has 0 distance on y-axis. And the y coordinate will be perpendicular distance from x-axis. So this is the perpendicular distance, this is your x-axis, so it is going to be 3. So the coordinate of point on the y-axis will be of the form 0, y. So if it is y-axis, x coordinate will be 0. If it is on the x-axis, y coordinate will be 0. So these two things you have to keep it in your mind. Okay. Now let's do one more question. Write the coordinate of the points which is marked on the axis. So you can see there are so many points written over here: A, B, C, D, O and E. You have to write the coordinate of these points. So let me start with from A. So A, you can see it is on the x-axis, isn't it? And we know that the point which is on x-axis, it can be written in the form of x comma 0. So now find the x coordinate. X coordinate is the perpendicular distance from y-axis, which is this. So the coordinate will be 4 comma 0. Now y coordinate will be 0 because the distance from x-axis is 0 as the point lies itself on the x-axis. Now next is point B. Now B point lies on y-axis, and we know that the point which lies on y-axis is of the form 0 comma y. So x coordinate is 0 and y coordinate will be 3. Y coordinate is the perpendicular distance from x-axis. Now this is your x-axis and this is the perpendicular distance, which is 3, right? Now same way for C. Again C is on the x-axis. So y coordinate will be 0 and x coordinate will be the perpendicular distance from the y-axis. Now this is your y-axis and this is the perpendicular distance, which will give you minus 5 comma 0. And same way the coordinate of point D, as it lies on y-axis, so x coordinate will be 0 and y coordinate is minus 4. Clear? Now coordinate of point E, if you see, here it is written 2 by 3, isn't it? So that location is given as 2 by 3. So the coordinate will be 2 by 3 and it lies on x-axis, so y coordinate will be 0. So this is the coordinate of point E. So that's all for today's class. Now in this video I have covered all the theoretical concept of this chapter. Now in my next video I am going to do the exercise question and I will try to solve some of the extra questions also from R.S. Agrawal. So that's all for today's class. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.